Oh wait, 1 second. I have to do one thing before
She
we
moves
start
like a
this.
cat.
Unless it's starting. Yep. All right. It says I have no disk space available, which is fantastic. Uh, dude, whatever.
That's a great
Anyway,
message to get first thing in the morning.
Why don't you
right?
use the credit card?
Buy more space. Hey, local recording stopped. It's fine. I don't care. It stopped. I don't care. Good. Good. I hope it stopped. Ugh, can't win. Anyway, so we're live, and John looks like he's having a great time.
John's
Yeah.
angry today. What's the matter,
I'm
John?
not. No. I'm not angry. I'm just beat. I took on a project that I probably should have investigated better before I took it on. I'm editing a book for someone, and he needs it done by a week from last Thursday. So this Thursday it has to be done. And he's just the guy can barely speak English. It's like so much. Normally, when you edit something, you just kind of read it and make corrections along the way. This is like I got to rework entire paragraphs. This guy's like illiterate, and so I'm just really frustrated. I don't know how we got a whole book out of his brain, to be honest with you. But
you know what the most insulting thing is? Like, I went to when my first book came out, The Truth, the only fitness book you'll ever need. And then I wrote 7 more books. But when I wrote the book, and I started doing the book tour, and I did, all the way all over the world, like Australia, everything, and it was a bestseller.
Wow.
Bill Kazmar asked me, he goes, so like he didn't believe I wrote the book. He was like, so what's your message of the book? And what's the message of the book? Like, no matter what you do, people like, it's 2 ways, John. They'll be like, you didn't write it, or you know what, I'm going to write a book too. Like, it's so easy. Like, like they're going to the store to pick up groceries. They have no idea what it takes. Like, you can't win either way. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't write it.
Oh, you'll like this one, Frankie. So I wrote this book for Richie Gaspari called what was it? It was a classic physique Bible kind of thing for classic physique, right?
All right.
So, man, I emptied my brain of like some really good stuff, and I threw in an ab course that I designed, years ago and never used. I mean, a ton of stuff. For all of the exercise examples, we used this guy who was working for Gaspari at the time, and he does does a photo shoot and does every single exercise, some on video, some on still, the entire book. I mean, I'm talking like a section that thick. Okay. Guy doesn't sign it. They don't give him a release to sign. So he subsequently gets fired, and we can't, not amicably, of course, he's fired, and we can't use, he's belligerent. We can't use the photos. So that entire book that I wrote, edited, everything, worthless.
I wrote the metrics book for the company. It was like 100-page book. It was like basically nutrition, training, what have you. And they're like, would you mind conferring with a nutritionist? So I'm like, yeah, sure. So we sat down with her. She comes highly recommended. She's like, yeah, with my clients, I recommend that they have a scooped out bagel with cream cheese. I'm like, get the hell out. You're out. Bye. Obviously, you can't say that, but I'm like, please leave. Please leave. The door's that way. They were like, she's like, proteins, it's not really good. You can only digest. I was like, this is a protein company.
That funny.
So bad.
That's hysterical.
I was working.
I mean, this book was like 240 pages. I mean, a lot of stuff. I mean, contest prep, bulking. Just everything that you could think of that you would need to start at zero and end up competing in classic physique. Everything, and I mean everything. Even down to posing and tanning and the whole prep cycle, everything completely useless. because
Dude,
the
let's
guy didn't
repurpose
sign
it, man. We could turn it into
So,
something.
Zach, I wanted you to collaborate on my new book, and I was thinking about this, and I was talking to my friend John Edward. He's wrote 7 New York Times bestsellers, and so I was like, I got an idea for a book. He's like, oh, fitness? What is? Because we're building this huge channel together on this app. It's like crazy channel. So he goes, what is it? I go, sex after divorce. he's like,
isn't that
I go,
simply answered by yes?
the,
Yeah.
the stories about sex after divorce, like, and the different people that the women and this and that. And he's like, yeah. So I was like, is that your psychic ability telling you that, or is that you're just like you just want to read it? He was laughing. But
Let's do
That's
it.
funny because
I'm in.
well, is it sex after divorce like revenge sex sessions, or I mean, like
no,
getting
so
back into the date? I mean, what do
nope.
you?
No, because you know what, obviously the opportunity, when is there for the revenge, but what for? It's like no way. I would just go like the friends, the family. There's too many fish in the sea, and karma. We all have a check to cash.
That's true.
Karma. So I didn't need any more bad mojo on me. So no, not at all. But it's another story. But I see we got a lot of questions here, so I'll
do. I want to, but the first one I want to start with is from last week. Somebody posted it, and I figured John would be a good one to ask to answer this one. It was when we were talking about specific ways to. I think we're talking about specific ways to take GH or TRT or whatever, and then they asked if injecting into the biceps would lead to more tears. Now, a couple questions I had from that without doing a single ounce of research was, you've mentioned in the past that you kind of rotate things, John. But then I was like, okay, well, I think we've talked about this too. Like if you do the same spots over and over again, isn't that going to possibly cause I don't know if it would be fluid retention or if it would be like discalcification or something there, right? Like harden it up, or that would cause problems, right?
The word is necrosis.
Thank you. That was it. Yeah.
Which is scar tissue. Yeah, well, I mean, if you like jab an 18 gauge needle into your bicep every other day with Tren in it, I mean, and do it for 2 years or more, you're going to build up, a certain amount of necrotic tissue, which could possibly lead to a tear. But I mean, you're talking like such an extreme example of that. I mean, Look at Greg Valentino. He had 27-inch arms full of oil. He didn't tear anything. So I would say that's probably one of the last things you would need to worry about, if at all. Frankie, you got what do you think?
No, you know what? Again, as a lifetime natty, I'm just
right here, buddy. Right here. Right here.
Shoulders, ass, outside of the quad. That's it.
The outside of the quad is a dangerous area, man.
Oh, that was my favorite spot back in the day.
Really?
But if you hit anything, it was fun. It was funny. Ooh. I'll tell a quick story. Zach, I was in Marina Del Rey, Venice Beach, doing photo shoots, and I was getting ready. And at that time, I was, supplementing, taking PEDs, and and I loaded up this syringe, and I went to put it in the side of my quad, and I hit something. Now I'm staying at a friend's house, and it was like turning on a faucet for a sprinkler, and blood just kept shooting off against the wall, and he had white walls. Looked like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Oh, God. I could have signed it.
I was like, wow, what did I hit? Like the most painful spot that I ever was the calf. Oh, my God.
Why would you even think of that? Oh my God.
Because when you competed back then, you'd put what's it called, a cycline or something to
blow it up. Blow up, right?
Ooh.
Cycline was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced, because you got to do like 500 shots of it. It's like little insulin needles filled up, and you got to like stab it, and like if you did your back, you're talking 150 shots.
I stopped at one. I'm like, I'm out.
It's like a bee sting. It's literally like a bee sting. It's like 150 bee stings. It's nuts.
Game over. One
Dude,
shot.
how do you explain that though? How do you explain that to your friend? You like yeah, somebody got murdered in here. I don't know if you knew. I just walked into it.
So I got a great story for you. So I said, sorry, man, I'll pay for the paint or whatever. And I don't know. He's like, don't worry about it. So, I went to take a shower, right? So I went to take a shower. And I went to take a shower, and there's a shampoo with, what do you call it around it? Tinfoil. So I'm like, why does this guy have tinfoil on his shampoo? So I'm like, all right. So I put the shampoo. My head starts burning. I'm like, oh man, what is this? So basically, he wore a toupee. So it was some sort of toupee shampoo. I had like a menthol base in it. It was a rough couple of days at that place.
Oh man.
But we're not friends anymore.
Does that have anything to do with it?
Yeah, I was gonna say. First of all, who says, don't worry about it? If I walked in and somebody sprayed blood all over the walls, I'd be like, you know what? I will take you up on the compensation for the paint.
So all right, I'll tell you one more quick one. But anyway, so I did a photo shoot. I met this fitness competitor back. This is the 90s, and she came over. He was gone. So she was putting where his bedroom was. There was a mirror and like a sink, and then you had the bathroom. So it's like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. Get up the train. She's in the sink, putting her contacts in naked, right? So she's actually sitting in the sink because she's crazy flexible. So she's putting in, and I get up and I start walking, go to the bathroom, and I look, and my friend is laying in bed. He's like this, with his eyes wide open, just watching the girl in the sink. He's like, And that was my weekend in Marina Del Rey.
Oh man!
All right.
Who was that person? Well, that's a story for another day.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about the sink, being in a sink.
Question.
That was when you're 22, 23 years old. It's like whole of the world.
Definitely.
All right, we got another question. It is. Damn it. I just hit the button. I got to read it as it scrolls now. All right. So this person, sorry, I forgot your name, but we appreciate you being here. What if somebody loses muscle mass? How do you get it back? Any leads would be helpful. Okay. Let's say, first of all, how old are you? What's going on with you?
Funny. Come on. That's really a funny question.
Same way you put it on. Same way you put it on.
No, when you lose your keys.
No, but also, what if they don't know? What if they come here and they really don't have any idea, and they're looking for some sort of direction as to, hey, you know what? I used to score 4 touchdowns in one game back in the city championships, and now I've been sitting around. Yes. And now my polk high days are behind me. I get that. Look, because there is a lot. I could see somebody trying to get back into things and being overwhelmed. So let's, in the most basic terms, let's kind of let's say you have to train more. That's kind of first of all, and probably look at your nutrition and start. Those are 2 easy things you can do.
How did you build it in the first place?
Yeah.
That's. But what if they want to build different? Okay, we're getting into a lot of hypotheticals.
They want to build a pyramid now.
That would. That would.
Say your prayer. The Hulkster. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins.
And drink your milk, brother.
Follow the rules.
But okay, so
that's just. I can understand somebody having a physique and then going through something or whatever, and time goes by, and then they look in the mirror again, and then where did I go? And Yeah, I mean, but I mean, the answer's simple. I mean, you go back to the gym, you do what you did in the first place. The good thing is that there's something called muscle memory,
Yeah,
which means that if you had an amount of
that's
muscle
true.
mass before, and then you
Mhm.
shrunk down because you stopped using it, it will come back rather quickly once you start training again, much quicker than if you never had it to begin with. But if
That's
you
no
lose
bullshit.
muscle
Yeah,
mass, you just go back to the gym, just start training again.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, weight
Guys, I got
resistance.
to let my dog out. I'll be right back.
Weight resistance, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, go back to compound movements. Go back. I would go back to the reps 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, train 4 or 5 days a week. Proper nutrition, lots of protein, rest, recovery. I mean, rest and recovery is important. I mean, the basics. If you're
That,
going back, and if you have muscle memory, it comes back.
and that's what you just said, man. So that's it for me too. It's that don't overthink it. Stay basic. That's what I would do. I'd say, you know what? Okay,
Yeah.
there's a million ways to do this, right? You could do a million different methods, but I would just start getting active again and starting to see
Totally.
how my body responds, how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, because here's the thing.
But
The other day, my wife's been training hard. The other day, she was doing a jump, like a box jump, pulls her back out. I'm like, like, but she's been doing them, so it's not like so this happened. So now she's got to revisit what she's doing. But that's kind of the thing here. Like, just trial and error. See how you respond.
you listen, you're not going to get it all back that first workout of that week. So if you were a guy who was benching 3, 4, 500, dude, 100, 150, take it slow. You got to get your body's got to get acclimated to the
Yep.
workload again. I trained a couple of weeks ago at Beb's with my buddy Jose, and for some reason we had this asinine idea to squat 500 pounds on Smith machine and do box squats and stuff. He's been out for a month. He's been to 5 different doctors for his back, and me, I had 2 weeks where I couldn't bend over, and touch my shoes. So it's like, you got to be smart. And if you're an older person too, yeah, man, it's a slow process.
It is.
But
It's a
John's right, muscle
exactly,
memory.
exactly. It's a process. And
Yeah.
you got
All
to
right.
wonder also is why did they lose the muscle mass in the first place? Were they sick, injured, just stopped
Right.
training? They have
I'm gonna let
disease,
my dog out.
multiple sclerosis. I mean, what do they have?
Well, now I got to go get a dog.
Yeah.
I only have cats.
Mine's acting. Well, that's your first mistake.
No way, dude. Cats are the best, dude. I love cats. I love dogs. I love animals, but I love cats.
I'm not a cat guy.
No?
Cats. I like when I come home and the dog is happy to see me. The cat could give a shit.
Not my cat. My one cat, Colonel Mustard, he is
Colonel
like a dog. Yeah, he is super into me. He likes to follow me around. He likes to sleep right on me, like whether it's on like my neck or like I actually every night I gotta make room and I have to put my arm out like this, so I wake up with a sore arm because he sleeps right here. That's my guy. Yeah, and he's heavy too. He's like 10 pounds. He's big.
Wow.
I got my dog, but I have 2 dogs. I had 3 dogs, and my ex-wife has 2, and I have 1. I brought my, man's best friend, my pal, my buddy over there, like to see his 2 friends. I couldn't drag him out. It was like a donkey. He wanted to stay. I'm like, wow, what happened about unconditional love? He didn't want to leave. I was trying to pull him out. He was like, let it out. And nah. So it was very upsetting, Zach. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get a cat.
Yeah, you should. You should. Somebody says glutes for injections, no quads, too many veins, says Christopher Kelly. Okay.
Well, you got the IT band too on the side of your leg.
Ooh, that's like you need a hammer to get the freaking syringe in there.
Yeah, I mean, back
My
in the
IT
day,
band is like cement. I mean, you're not getting anything in there.
back in the day, like, look, when you're 22, 21 years old, whatever, when I started competing, there's besides the steroid handbook and stuff, there's no one's going to show you or teach you. So you're on your own.
Right.
So when you bought a preloaded Sustanon 250, it was like a nail. It was like, it's like
18
a finger.
18
Yeah.
gauge. Yep.
So the older savvy veterans would put it in something else. But the stupid people the newbies would take it, and it was literally like sitting on a nail. Like, but that's
Jimmy the Bull did it.
And he was like,
Oh my God.
oh.
Did Jimmy the Bull tell you his story about that?
No.
Oh yeah, he got a Sustanon preload and used it out of the box.
jeez.
I mean, it's like
That's all I did.
you can literally take a 25 gauge needle and stick it through the opening of the needle that comes with the package and suck it out. I mean, that's how freaking big that thing is. The 23 gauge will fit inside that.
Yeah, for the first couple of months, that's all I used, John. Was the preloaded. That's all I used, right?
Oh.
So, and my friend has the best story ever about that. He goes to, we were competing in the same show, and he's going to Mexico to get him, so they come back, he gets him, like, oh yeah, I got it. And he's in his bathroom, and he's like 20, he's 19 years old. He's doing the teen show or whatever. And he's in the bathroom and he's got it and he's shaking. It's like his first time. And his mother yells at him. She's like, Greg! And he throws the needle up in the air, and he's, shoot it in his butt. The needle comes straight down, and it's standing up between his, his thing and his leg like this. And he's got to pull it out. It got caught in his skin. I was like, wow.
Oh my
God. Crazy.
Wow.
But you have to realize, it's, Zach, if you were putting up like a 100-pound mirror, that's how thick that
it's huge. It's like an eighth of an inch.
God.
Yeah, it's giant.
God.
Yeah, so I don't know.
But you know what? They're beautiful. I mean, when you open that package of those Sustanon preloads, the blister packing is built. The glass, they're glass syringes, and they're beautiful. They're really well made and well presented. But then you get down to the needle and you go, what the fuck?
But I didn't know. Like Zach, back in the day, we're talking 25, 30 years ago, 25 years ago.
More.
You either got the nail syringe, which we used, or you had the stupid little ampules with this friggin' Barbie saw on it, and you have to and try to open it up, and and then you put the needle in, and you get you're hoping that there's no glass particles.
How many of those ampules have you crushed in your hand and wasted? Because
that was horrible, man. Right there, because they're back. So. This was the trajectory. So basically, your friend would be like, "Oh, do you want?" There was no TRT clinics or anything. Your friend would be like, "Yo, what do you want?" And you're like, "All right, I'm gonna do, get me 5 Sustanon, 10 Sustanon, and get me 10 Primobolan and some Parabolan, right?" So they give them to you, and then you're like, "All right, it's $15, $20." And he would get them from somebody for like 12 or 15, and he would get them somebody from 6, 8. So if you're the last person on the totem pole, you were basically paying for everybody else's cycle. But then when you had it, Zach, so a little ampule might cost you and this is the 90s, you're talking $15, $20. So,
right.
And then if you broke in your hand and you were on contest prep and, it wasn't like you can just go to the store and get one. You were screwed.
And you had them all counted out too. God forbid you had an extra one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus. Do you want to do this IBS question we got?
Sure.
Sure.
We
Any
love
question.
right.
What do you got?
We got it. Okay. This is from Anthony.
I can't see this shit. So
hi, Anthony.
I have no idea what they're asking.
Zach's the only one.
What? Yeah. Why? I don't want to be the only one. I mean, listen.
They can see it. They can see.
You can see it.
You're young.
You're the youngest one here. You don't need glasses yet.
Well, I got LASIK. I got LASIK a while ago.
Oh, all right.
I'm so glad I did. All right. It says, I got a question, says Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Thanks for the question. I've been dealing with IBS pretty severely over the past few years and have noticed how difficult it is to absorb nutrients. Have you had any experience with this? I have not, but I feel like if you've coached enough people, or I feel like John's shaking his head because he's the IBS master, the expert of IBS. John loves IBS. I don't know. What do we got, John?
I like anything that you can make irritable. So the bowel syndrome.
He said training wise. I don't know what training wise means. So you're saying any Okay, but you're saying you can't absorb nutrients, and you're asking for
You have
Tra-
IBS?
My first question would be, how do you
Okay.
know you're not absorbing nutrients? Do you have some kind
That's
of
a
test that you're running
yeah.
to do that? So, that's the problem with some of these things, is that people just kind of come up with, cause and effect. I mean, it's like, um, you know,
Like
yeah,
gluten.
I'm not absorbing my nutrients. How
Mm,
do you know that? I mean, how do you
mm,
know? I mean, just how do you know? So, um, in light of that, irritable bowel syndrome is definitely an issue. A lot of people deal with it, and it's usually has to do with some type of food allergy. So what you have to do to combat it is you have to literally stop eating everything
mm,
and fast for a couple days, clean your system out, and then introduce one food at a time and try to find out what's causing it. Sometimes it's carbohydrates people are, irritable with. Sometimes it's fats that they're not producing enough bile, and they're not able to, break down their fats as efficiently as
mhm,
they could. It could be additives. It could be almost anything. It's almost never protein.
mm.
So that's
Interesting.
usually the safest bet. Um, but irritable bowel syndrome is something that a lot of people deal with. I mean, a lot, and a lot of people, it affects them in the morning only, and not the rest of the day. And it's just kind of like something, if you can't pinpoint what it is that's actually causing the irritation, you pretty much just have to live with it. But to say that you're kind of blanketly state that you're not absorbing nutrients is, I mean, how do you know? I mean, if you
Well,
eat, that's
I got
like
an
saying,
update.
okay, I'm eating 100 grams of protein, but I'm only absorbing 50. Well, how do you know?
Well, okay, I got an update. He said, I want to know if you have any experience training clients with this condition, weight loss and blood work done through VA.
Hmm.
So I think so. He must have had at least some tests run. He didn't mention anything about any specific tests or any nutrient deficiencies that were flagged, but uh, at least he updated
Yeah,
us with that.
there's basically no test for that. I mean, I mean, there just isn't. I mean, that older people also get something called leaky bowel,
Hmm.
leaky gut syndrome, and that's basically a breakdown of collagen. And if you
Hmm.
don't have enough collagen in your system, in your digestive system, you can literally, the stuff that's in your stomach going into your intestines literally leaks into the bloodstream without
Hmm.
going through, like, the villi into the from the intestine into the capillary into the bloodstream, and that can cause, some problems,
Hmm.
toxicity problems. But I mean, that's a stretch. I mean, to associate irritable bowel syndrome with not absorbing nutrients, you have to have some kind of metric to judge that against, and that's an extremely difficult thing to do, especially at home. So my suggestion would be, clean out what everything that you're eating. Get a couple days of, like, a juice fast or a water fast, and then I would start with rice, start with cream of wheat, and just one kind of bland thing at a time. Work up to the more, dense stuff, and see what happens. But it's only going to be a trial and error issue. There's no way that you can say, "Oh, here, take this pill and you'll stop
Hmm.
your IBS." No, it just there's definitely drugs that treat IBS, but with respect to absorbing nutrients, that's a whole other story.
Got it.
Hmm.
Okay, but what about I've gone to some doctors and taken some blood work to see if I have any food allergies. Now it's not going to be the same as maybe what would trigger IBS, but it did tell me certain things that I didn't know that I had some intolerances to, which I can still eat them, but it definitely, once it was flagged, I noticed a bit of a difference. So I did cut back on it. So I don't know. I thought that that's an option. I don't know how expensive those are. Mine was comped
Yeah.
because it was a friend of a friend. So I was like, yeah, I'll go for it. But yeah, I don't know, man. That was I don't know. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with. I know people with IBS, and it seems like a huge fucking hassle. Uh, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, another thing that nobody thinks about is fiber. I mean,
Hmm.
bodybuilders specifically don't eat vegetables a lot of. I mean, Ronnie Coleman never ate anything green. He'll tell you straight up. If you're not getting the roughage, the bulk in your digestion, you can have problems. Some of them are associated with IBS. Some of them seem like IBS. But the reality is that, especially guys like us, you need a fiber supplement, and a lot of times just adding that fiber supplement to one or two of your meals makes a world of difference.
I get IBS every time I go to this gas station to get coffee.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
And then you take
Sushi
a sip
too
and
at the gas
then-
station. You'll get IBS. Among other things.
All right, let's see. All right, Bruce has something for us. All right, Bruce, listen, there was probably some other ones. Sorry, I'll try to remember them. But Bruce has one. It says, Bruce, where'd you go? All right. If you're a 67-year-old bodybuilder and you're doing upper and lower splits, how many days rest in between each workout would you recommend?
Depends
Thanks,
on
Bruce.
the person, you know. Well, I was just watching. What was it, Robbie Robinson, who's in his 70s? I was watching him, and he's shredded. You know, it's funny. You go to a bodybuilding show and you watch the over 60 bodybuilders, and you're like, wow, you know, some of them look really good. Obviously, there's some loose skin or what have you. And when you talk to them, everybody has their own philosophy. Some guys are like, I only train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you know, and some guys are like, I train every day for 4 hours. So I guess it's depending. And some people, I was Corey we just talked to, he was like, there's no such thing as overtraining.
Mhm.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I guess do what you can. Like whenever I train a lot, but when I start now to get aches and pains, I try to take a day off here and there. But it's all up to your personal fitness level and what you can take.
Yep. And you left out the other half of that sentence. There's no such thing as overtraining. There's only under recovery.
I was going to say, I've heard under
No.
recovery or under nourishment or something like those things together.
The recovery thing is the key because,
Right.
you know, I'm a 63-year-old bodybuilder. So believe me, I understand what the guy's talking about. And what you got to do is you got to listen to your body, which is the hardest thing to do because your body's telling you something you don't want to do, which is stop.
Yeah.
So, or rest or whatever. And I also noticed that if the rest of my life is encompassing strenuous activity, yard work, house, working on the house, working on a motorcycle, whatever, my rest interval needs to be longer because I'm beat. So, you know, I can easily train Monday through Friday, no problem. But if I'm training Monday through Friday and I'm splitting cordwood, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to replace a workout with splitting cordwood. That's going to count as a workout. Whereas when I was younger, I was an animal. I did everything. So you got to pay attention to the clock when you're older. You need more rest. Your body can't take, especially if you've been pounding on your body for the last 67 years, you know, you got to like say, whoa, let's listen to what it's saying and maybe take a little break here and there.
It's ego too, and it's who you surround yourself with. So that is primarily the reason why I train by myself, because no matter what, when you're training with other people, they try to push you to do what they want to do. And that might not be conducive to what works for your body. So when I go to the gym and I feel a twinge in my tricep or whatever, I'm going to back it off. There's no reason I have to do 225 close grips for 12 reps. No, I'm not going to do it. Like yesterday I went to hot yoga and I was like, wow, man, I was horrible. It was hot. Like usually I'd push through. I was like, I'm out. I laid down, like I just laid down. You take a couple of poses off, but that's the difference. You got to know your body. Cause I'm like, am I winning some sort of monetary prize for doing this pose? Or, that I have to push myself through it? I'm like, no. So I know better now.
It's also interesting how things that you wouldn't expect to take a toll on you do. Like yesterday, I'm painting one of my motorcycles. So I have a gas tank, and two little fairing pieces in the back. They needed to be wet sanded. So I got a wet sand 800, 1,000, 1,500, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and then go to the machine. So gas tanks like this, this big, two little pieces, and I'm standing there in my shop sanding and sanding and sanding. 4 hours of doing that. Okay, you would think that just doing this, it's wax on, wax off kind of thing, would be no big deal. I was trashed when I got to the gym after that. I was sitting there on the bench. I couldn't stop yawning. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? And all I did was sand,
Oh
and
yeah.
you got to pay attention to that shit, man. It sneaks up on you.
My brother bought this house and he's like, "Can you help me roof it?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So I'm on top of the roof,
Oh boy.
pulling the roof shingles off and then tarring it. And I'm like, "Holy shit, my neck."
Yeah.
I was like, we're up there for like 8, 9, 10 hours in the sun. Like the next day, you're like, I'm not training. There's no way
No.
I'm going to the gym.
No.
Roofing and blacktop are the two worst jobs ever invented. Ever.
Wait, Frank, I heard you say one time you worked for a moving company.
Yes.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh man. So
Rough.
I started working as a moving company when I was 15 for my best friend and his uncle. And then I worked with Tony Pandolfo, who owned Tom Tufano. He was part of Tom Tufano, and I spoke about Tony. He was over 50, 67 Masters champion, NPC. And we would train at 4 a.m. at Gold's Gym in Limbrook. And then after that, quarter to 5 until 6:30. And then we would be on the truck by 7:45 until 5, 6 p.m. And then I'd go to 7:30, 9 o'clock college classes at Nassau Community College after that. And I did it we did it all the time, and then when I was a big guy, they would strap a refrigerator to my back and like you're going up the steps and like pianos and, you were the guy, you were the guy. Like, and depending on who the hell you were working with, you were in danger every step because new guys didn't know how to, move the thing, and they're rocking it and dropping it and everything else. And, lots of people got hurt during this shit. So it's like,
dude, it was, so that was so I would get up at 6, get there by 7 to get to the house, work all day, however long it took. Sometimes it was a multiple day thing, but then afterward I'd go right to the gym and I would train for at least an hour, probably more, and try to do, like, a lot of times I'm like, okay, well, I'm running, and I would run from the truck to the house because I thought, I'm like, I'll get more cardio in. And I was like, okay, so then I'd start to just do like power lifts at the gym, and God, was it, like, I look back now and I'm like, dude, how did I conjure all that? Because it's like, thinking about it now, I couldn't do it. I would just pass out. But then it was like, I had to get to the gym, man. I had to be there. So
there's nothing like Zach in the morning. It's like 7:30, you got your McDonald's coffee or whatever, and you drive, and you look out and there's 3 other guys on the truck, whatever, and you look out the window and you see this gigantic house, and you walk in and all you see is like 5,000 boxes and 25 rooms of furniture, and you're like, the defeat, the amount of defeat it comes out on, you're like, oh man.
Oh man.
I couldn't do it now.
That's what. This guy, Scatman. So there's a couple things that people brought up. One, somebody brought up raking and how that actually wrecked me pretty good too. My back was just on fire for days. Somebody also, 2 things. One, I have no idea about because, as you both know, my bodybuilding gossip knowledge could fit into a thimble. So evidently, Dennis James had some. Who is it? Dennis Meniz over Milos over packaging. I don't know. But this person says it's like, and maybe so. I asked him to explain it to me, but I don't think he felt like it. So I don't even know what that means, first of all. So it sounds like these people are irritated. Another thing is, which John probably wants to talk about, Sam Sulik, who John likes to mention that he drinks chocolate milk each time he's brought up. He took posing lessons at Dino's gym, and people like Phil Heath said he can't hold a pose longer than 10 seconds without gassing. There it is. There, now we have news.
Posing isn't as easy as people think it is. Like, everybody's pose is like they'll hit their arm shot, but when you're depleted, okay, you're at some of these people are at, death's door. It's the worst
Yeah.
shape you're gonna feel, and you're on stage, and you have to hit the mandatory shots, and then they call you out again and again and again. It wasn't a big Rami till when he won the Olympia that Dennis told me that he really, 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 really paid attention to his posing, and it made a huge difference. Because when you stand there relaxed, Zach, and your gut, if you got a bubble gut, and it's hanging out, and you can't control it, or you're not in the line and you're not flexing, and a judge catches you, like it could cost you. So it
sure
takes
can.
work, man. Like he used to pose like a good hour a day, and when you do pose, it does bring in better muscle definition and separation when you do pose. But
And control.
Control. A lot of bodybuilders still, when they turn pro, they couldn't do it. Some of them were just terrible, and it cost them.
When I prep somebody, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, dude. No, I just wanted to tag on to quickly what Frank said. But even at the meetings, like at Olympia, they come out and say that. They say like, you better hold your poses because if you let things go, we're going to judge you on it. So
when I prep somebody for a show, I make them, starting 6 weeks out, I make them pose 30 minutes twice a day. Theory being, I want you in the pose first and out of it last. So the longer you can hold that in a statuesque way, not shaking all over the place and gasping and uncontrollable gut, but if you can literally lock in a pose, be in it first and be out of it last, you have the best chance of being seen. And it's people don't get it, man. I can't even count how many guys and girls have come to me, for contest dial in, and they have spent no time posing. Now it's 2 weeks before the show and they've never posed, and I'm like, what are we going to do? You got to pose literally now 3 times a day, every day for like an hour, and not that much, but I mean a lot, because it's a workout. It's just like lifting weights. If you have never lifted weights before, I don't care how much natural strength you think you have, the first time you do it, you're going to be gassed. And posing is exactly the same thing. If you're not used to posing, you're not going to make it. You have got to train your poses.
It's like if you ran into a boxing ring for a minute, like, to fight, you'd be gassed unless you trained for that. At Bev Francis gym, obviously they have the posing room, and I don't know how many times I've been in there when Steve is helping people, and even the top pros, just a slight touch of the bicep, or bringing the arms in on a double bicep, or kicking your calf back, or a way that they're standing. Like, I know this guy who did a men's physique show, and he's like, I don't need to learn how to pose. I saw it on YouTube. And I was laughing. I'm like, really? Okay. Because I know men's physique is front and back, but still, there were so many guys and everything. This guy, sweat was pouring off of him, and like the tan was coming with it. Like, and it was gassed.
Yeah. It's also, when you pose, everybody's different. So you've got to like accentuate your strong points and hide your weak points. And that only comes with practice. Yeah. I mean, there's ways of sliding one leg up against the other when you hit a side chest, it's like you're doing this, like to make your hamstring look bigger. There's, how you twist your wrist depending on how long your bicep is. I mean, there's so many variables to individual posing that you're never going to discover unless you do it. No. And then you need to do it in front of somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about, because the worst thing that can happen to you is you can get really good at doing something wrong, and then it's impossible to fix that. So especially because when you're posing on stage, you have no mirror. You got to like feel it. So the object is to pose in the mirror until you lock the pose in, and then you put a sheet over the mirror, try to lock the pose in, and then open the sheet and say, whoa, yeah, I'm not hitting that right, or whatever.
Yeah, from a
Connect with-
content side of things, though, I think it's a good idea. I don't know much about this dude, only from what I've read from people's comments and what Romano's told me. But if this isn't something he does a lot, look, getting out there and also just filming your progress, how you're learning to do it, that's a smart thing. I mean,
Without a tripod.
yeah. But also because again, a lot of these folks, they need content. So why not do something where you're actually learning something? And who knows, it could also build to some storyline down the line. Maybe if he does want to, I don't know. I'm just in my head from that side of things, and having talked to a lot of influencer folks that have started doing that as a full-time job. That's one of the things that they've said is, holy shit, it's a lot harder than you think having to do this every day to try to think of something. Because if you do something that tanks, you're like, oh shit, I got to hurry up and come up with another idea, and I got to get it out there. And it's pressure because you don't want to lose, any stature, because then you might lose some loot.
People are crazy though with this whole thing, with these videos and
course.
this stuff. I mean, I remember what's his name, Greg Plitt got hit by the train. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
Things happen when you set
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's
A train?
Greg Plitt was 38 years old. He was one of the top fitness guy. Worked for Metrics at the time, and he was filming. He was filming himself running next to a train, and I think he tripped.
Yeah.
And that was it. So it's like, just be careful.
Yeah.
Like you see these people on ledges, and you see these people jumping over. Like all you see now on some of these social media platforms is people getting hurt, seriously hurt, like from this thing. So it's like, be careful. I saw somebody the other day. I was like, they were doing a press, like they were standing with the barbell under their neck, and they locked out their legs. When they locked out their legs, she went straight back with 225 and hit his head and broke his neck on the floor. So it's like, shit. So it's like he just locked his leg. He's wearing socks. Boom, hit the floor. I was like, wow. I'm like, you got to be careful with these things. Like, like eating 10,000 calories in a sitting. Okay, maybe you'll get diarrhea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But
it's not a broken neck.
Do something like, dogs chasing you, or, wearing a meat outfit and having dogs chase you. That's the recipe for disaster. And by the way, on Fit Seekers, Zach and I will be wearing meat costumes.
That's right. We were trying to set it up where we're going to fence, but we didn't get to.
That's right.
What was that character in the Rocky movie? Remember Kid Salami? And he had the salamis hanging all over him.
Kid Salami.
Oh,
that's funny.
So yeah, I don't know what the other thing is, by the way. I don't know what this other thing they're talking about is. Does anybody here know what that is? This whole okay. It was somebody was on Dennis James. Scatman, can't you tell me? Seems to know because he said somebody butchered the names, so I don't want to say it again.
Right.
But I guess somebody was on Dennis James's podcast, and I don't know the rest. It was some.
What's the question?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the question was like asking, if anybody had any thoughts on it, but clearly on what happened, which I don't know, so I can't explain it. I'm trying to find out. I don't know. No, Thomas, don't leave. Screw the meeting. Just skip it. Hang out with us instead. You don't need to go to the meeting. You're boss. We'll write you a note. Come on, Scott, man. You pull through here.
So what are we saying? There was somebody. Milos was on Dennis's show, and something happened that none of us know what it is, and we were trying to figure out what happened.
Yes. Yeah, it's riveting. I mean, it's real drama, like to the core. No, but here's why I know, because I've looked at it. I didn't really know, but I saw that there was activity on the YouTube page, the Muscle and Fitness YouTube page, because predominantly Dennis James's show is what gets attention. This one to a lesser extent, but we're going to change that because we have 41 subscribers, baby. But anyway, okay, Milos and Patrick Tour.
What about him?
Tour? It looks like
whatever.
Tour.
What about it?
I saw them fighting about something, but I didn't know what it was.
Right. Okay. So they were fighting. John, what do you think?
I have no idea what's going on. How do I know what to think?
All right, so you heard it here. John just picked a side. John thinks that they're both wrong. No,
This is what
I'm going to side with Milos no matter what. So there you go.
But here's why I knew anyway, because there was a flurry of comments that I kept seeing, and they were kind of a little bit on the, yeah, some of them were like, hinging on super angry, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh, okay. So Milos says he worked with Patrick and sent Patrick all of his protocols. Okay. So then what did Patrick say? Patrick said, no, we're acting this out in real time. How this is amazing. And Patrick says he never worked with me. So, okay. That's kind of weird.
That's like Kai Green and Ron Norman.
So, all right. Well, tell me what happened. I got to know this story now.
Oh, really?
Which one?
I don't. The Kai Green, the Norman one.
Well, Frankie knows who Ron Norman is. He's a great guy, one of constituents in our community. He's in his day job. He's a federal tax litigator. He's one of 200 CPAs certified to practice in federal tax court. He owns his own firm. He's a big shot, but he's been a amateur bodybuilder. He's won a ton of shows on amateur level. He's a hobby. His hobby is bodybuilding, and he's really good at it. And he helped Kai Green for, I forgot what year, Olympia, and Kai Green denied that he ever worked with him. So it's like Ron was like real. Like if you know anything about Kai Green, there's a lot of hand holding involved. He's not the easiest, and I would say this to his face. He's not the easiest, but reportedly he's not the easiest guy to work with. Okay. So meaning it takes a lot of effort. So I know Ron I've known Ron for 20 years, so I know he's not lying. He put a lot of effort into Kai's prep, and Kai completely denied that he did anything for him. So, like, same kind of thing. He's denying he worked with him. So, I don't know why people do that, but it happens.
Only they would know.
I know. We're now getting scolded by Loho. We should know about the beef. You're muscle and fitness employees, damn it. How could you not know? And that's actually not true.
Is that what we are? I didn't know that. I thought I worked. I thought I worked in my company.
So Loho, here's the other thing. So this is predominantly things that, John is involved with. It does attract a very large bodybuilding audience, but there's other things that Frank and I do outside of this that has nothing to do with bodybuilding. So we try to cover as much as possible, but there's so much stuff that it's impossible to stay on top of everything. It is just impossible. Also, Frank has to do, Frank's posting stuff all hours of the night. He can't stop and watch an hour of everyone's podcast. All right, now we're getting all of the insight here. Okay, so you have to be.
It took 5 minutes.
All right, thanks, Samson. Okay, here we go. You have to be talking about the fallout between Milos and Patrick. During Patrick's competitive days, he received some information from Milos about diet, insulin, PEDs, and training. Milos claimed he trained, coached Patrick, and Patrick said it never happened. So then basically, Scatman says, Milos exposed Patrick. Milos looked pissed. Patrick looked worried. And now the final update. Patrick said he received the info, but he did not put it to use. Instead, he followed his own protocols. Milos called him a liar and said he did follow it. Boy, we should really reenact this. I should get the transcript. Oh, my gosh.
I'll be Dennis James because I'll just sit back.
We should just get Milos on the show.
Well, John's got the hair for Dennis James. Like, they have the very same haircut where I don't know who I look like. Do I look like any of those people? Does anybody have like cavemanish hair and just...
You're getting that Sam Sulak look.
Sam Sulak.
I'm getting my haircut tomorrow. I'm going with my son. We're going to get it together.
Get it together?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I've told you guys, I actually have a Sam Sulak in my gym.
Okay.
Oh, do you?
Yep. He's a Sammer. Yep. Dead. I mean, you would think that this guy studies him. I mean, he's got the hat, the clothes, exactly he looks like him. I'm waiting to see if he starts guzzling a gallon of chocolate milk after he's done training. I haven't seen it. Frankie, when you go on like this, I know you're trying to read the comments. I do the same.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I gave you guys the login. I gave you guys the login for Restream.
It doesn't matter. This font is this big.
No, that is dude. That is a different site. You can look at it on a web page, like a big web page, like as big as your screen can get.
Zach looks like Link.
I need another monitor.
Zelda games. What is the Zelda game?
Oh no, I do look. He's right. He's right. I do. I need a green hat of some sort.
Yeah,
and I would look like Link. I got here. So I don't know. I got a red one.
We're gonna go out on a limb and say Nick Walker's gonna win the New York Pro.
All right. So hold on. Now we got another one. Patrick was not exposed because Milos did not train him. Patrick even said Milos' perception of training is not what he considers it to be. Boom.
Well, that's
drop the mic.
Actually, that is a salient point right there. It's like, I helped you. Okay. What does that mean? What did you do? So, you can say I trained him. Does that mean I went to the gym and counted reps with him every day? Or does that mean I prepped him for a show? Or does that mean I sent them a diet? Or does that mean I sent them an insulin protocol? Or does that mean I sent them a drug protocol? What exactly does that mean? Because that term trained is very overused and very loose in our industry.
That is okay. How would you define it then, right? Let's define this. So if somebody says I worked with John Romano as a coach, what would you take that to mean?
Very simple, because John Romano only does one thing, and that is contest prep. So I can't throw anything else in there because I don't do anything else with people. So if you worked with me, it means you did a show. So
got it.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. But why would anybody lie about that stuff? First of all, like why would this even become a thing?
Good question.
Who knows?
Like, that's the other
People like this is the biggest news. Maybe it's the biggest news to you because you're not privy to everything that we are privy to. So maybe, I don't know. But Zach and I also work outside of this with, NFL, NBA.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff,
We're trying to like wrangle all this stuff.
But,
and if you think that stuff is easy, it is not. Yeah, but it's also like this takes time. I mean, we've got some pretty cool stuff upcoming that Frank set up with a very well-known singer, performer. That's going to be really cool. But this thing, and this is something we've talked about. You've talked about to me for weeks, if not months. This is how long it takes sometimes. I am the ball boy.
Totally,
I am the ball boy on the side.
I remember, like, any social media site, like, you'll be, I don't know, for a month, you'll be like, oh, I got a couple of hundred. And then there's one thing that resonates and then it jumps up. So when we start having guests, and we're going to have guests of all types of people, not just bodybuilders, but when we start having guests next week, then you'll see we'll tap into their audiences and they're like, what do you mean you don't know about wrestling? Like, so we understand this is big news in bodybuilding right now, but Dennis James does an amazing job. I've been friends with Milos for 30 years. I don't know who Patrick is, but I don't know what their fight is, but if you're enjoying it, enjoy it. Sit back and watch, like it. I don't know.
I'm with you. I've known Milos at least that long, and I don't know this other guy. And I mean, Milos is, that guy knows a lot of intricate scientific shit. And there is absolutely no way that if you worked with Milos and you listened to Milos, that you wouldn't gain some kind of definable difference. So you would say, like, I worked with Milos. That's like obvious. I worked with Milos. It's also obvious if you didn't work with Milos. So I don't know why someone would work with someone or take any advice at all from them and then deny that they did. Unless you're trying to support the other guy, I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
It's like when a trainer trains a celebrity and they get him in shape, and then the celebrity gets an endorsement, and then you have to sign an NDA with the celebrity because they want to sell their, their supplement or their workout
Mhm.
program. So it's
Yep.
just,
Right.
they just, that might be the
But a
problem. But
guy
John,
like Milos, what?
You got to go. It's
I know.
11:05.
I would.
Oh,
I would like to.
here's the thing, though. By the way, but here's the thing. It's like I don't know either Milos or Patrick. So So when people are like, "You don't know this drama," nope, I don't, and I don't even care about it. I'm going to be 100% transparent. Not my problem.
I can, without knowing anything, I can side with Milos.
I
Pretty
did three
much.
I did 3 TV commercials with Milos. We did 3
Oh,
TV
yeah?
commercials together, and I talked to him. Yeah, and we did photo shoots together with Chris Lund, which I posted the other day, and he reshared or whatever. But yeah, man, he knows his thing. I just saw him a video with him and Dana White from the UFC. I just saw Milos video, but he knows his stuff. Always has.
Yeah, that's
Always.
not true, Scatman, by the way. I've had many different podcasts on this channel, so that is incorrect. By the way, you can take a look at reps that I used to do. I stopped doing it. And yeah, I don't know what it's a Dennis James podcast or something. I don't know. It's nothing that I produce. I hope it does well because it means the company's doing well. But I've been doing stuff on this for a long time, and really, honestly, I didn't think that at AMI that YouTube was the way to go with specific things because we didn't have anyone that was catering to YouTube, that was looking at it. I know it's on this channel. I understand that. Like I get that. I'm aware.
Ted,
You
does Ted Turner own TBS? You think he watches every show?
Exactly. It's really funny when people associate things like that. I mean, like you talk about AMI, okay? David Pecker, the head of AMI, he is the number 1 witness in the Trump trial now in New York City.
Yeah.
Okay, the Stormy Daniels case. So, yeah, that was on our channel. That if you worked for AMI, yeah, that was. So, do you know everything about that whole thing because you worked for AMI? Well, you worked for AMI. You mean you don't know what he told Stormy Daniels? Yeah. No, how are we supposed to know all of that shit? I mean, people don't get that. There's the amount of stuff that goes on within the confines of this company. So to assume that just because it's on a channel that we intimately know all the details of it is erroneous. How can that even be possible?
Well, it's also that I see the workflow. It's also I see all the emails. That's the other thing. A lot of what happens is managing things to make sure they get upright or to help somebody out if it's supposed to go up at a specific time and they can't do it. So yeah, there's times where I'm reading or looking or watching something that was done months ago because I'm just catching up to it. And that's
the other thing.
It happens.
There's at least 40 pieces of content that goes up every day just on Instagram. Wow. And then another 40 on Twitter. So you're talking about 150 pieces a day. So it's hard to catch up with everything. But yeah, Dennis does a great job. But look, he's got everybody's watching. That's awesome. That's great.
To Dennis's credit, I mean, he's got a great personality for this. He's easy. He's good to listen to. He's got funny stories. He's got great expressions. I mean, I think that show is. I like listening to Dennis, and I don't have time to listen to anybody, but if I did, I would watch that show.
I was supposed to go on it we were talking about old school bodybuilding, but I don't know. Jay Cutler's got a good podcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny. Everybody brings Milos on. You see Milos on everything.
Yep. Not Patrick, I guess. He won't be going on the Patrick tour show or whatever.
It was funny because I did the Mike O'Hearn podcast, and we went viral. And then I did we did one with Phil Heath as well. That was pretty good. I mean, everybody's personalities. It just, when you have guests and you have people, it creates a different kind of flow vibe that, sometimes resonates big time with the audience.
Yeah. There was times where we were doing the biggest one I think we did was two. One, I did one with Roman Reigns and that did really well. And we did one with Sebastian Stan during quarantine. That did pretty well. I didn't know Sebastian Stan has like a huge like following like online,
Yeah.
which I had no idea about, because all these fan accounts started commenting, and I was like, holy shit, like, you know, literally like a dude in his living room just talking to us.
Yeah.
But it was, but that's the other thing. I mean, how many times, Frank, has people said to you, all right, man, let's do it, we're gonna go viral? Oh, really? Okay. Like, okay, sure,
You know,
okay.
I started RX Muscle with Dave Palumbo in 2009. Okay. That's 15, 16 years ago
Mhm.
that we've been doing that. We've been, doing podcasts together. And it's the amount of times that podcasts have come and gone during that period that we were active is astounding. I'm talking hundreds, if not more.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a tough sell, man. It took us 15 years to break 300,000 subscribers. So without, we didn't buy any. Those are legit subscribers on YouTube. It's 15 years. So are there podcasts that have garnered a bigger audience faster? Absolutely. Do we know how or why that's true? No, we don't. So the viral aspect, nobody knows the key to that. If they
No.
did, man, send it to me because I could use it.
Yeah, that reminds me, for a gratuitous plug here. Oops, I put it up under my name instead of the
Nice.
Muscle and Fitness one. Doesn't matter. But yeah, look, we have 41 subscribers right now. You heard that right, 41, and that's double since last week. So guess what? We're growing. So hop on.
Exactly.
Tell your friends.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. All of you guys that like this show, tell your friends. If you hate the show and want to see how stupid we are, tell your friends. Either way, tell your friends, because we would like the views.
Totally.
Yeah. We would, and we want to do bigger things. As Frank said, we have brainstormed different things we want to do. We definitely want to bring more people in. I'm trying to come up with ways to get some more different segments on. I will tell you this, John, when I put up some of the stuff, which I'm just getting to now, this is how backlogged I am, where I asked you to define some of the slang terms of like those, and some of them are 15-second clips, and they do really well because it's funny, and but I'm like, we can do this. We could figure it out. Somebody asked about calling in. I have a roadcaster. I think that's an option. I don't know how to do it. But I also know that we wouldn't screen calls, so it would only be a matter of time until Richard and Sal from the Stern Show call. And totally. But we're trying. We're going to go for it.
I have a little experience with the call-in thing. It's you need a crew.
Yeah.
You need a production crew, because like you just said, you got to screen the call. I mean, otherwise it's a very finite space of time that you have to entertain these things. And if you're wasting it on some idiot who wants to prove he's an idiot, and that just takes seconds and minutes away from, the real meat of the show. So to have call-ins, you really got to screen them well. And even then it doesn't always work. People lie. So I would be against that.
I did a radio show for Hay House, and woof, the call-ins. Oh boy. I had to fill 2 hours by myself about fitness every week, and it was like the call-ins were brutal.
Oh,
they are,
they would turn left quick, like about religion or demons, and their whatever it may be. It was crazy. But look, on social media, we're doing much better. And like if you look comparatively on X to some of the other people, like I was looking the other day, we are far and ahead. The YouTube channel on Muscle and Fitness is more of a bodybuilding algorithm right now. And what we're going to do is bring on some of since we are Muscle and Fitness, we're going to bring on some of your favorite bodybuilding stuff. We pretty much can bring anybody we want on. So we just wanted to show you our personality for the first couple of shows, and then we'll just bring on some people. But knowing that we work for Muscle and Fitness, I don't know how free we could be as RX Muscle could be talking to some of these people who are entering events owned by such and such. So that's why we have to go outside. We need somebody who's into I don't know, who's maybe I don't know, Zach, like a street skateboarder.
Yeah.
Rock climbers.
We could
Rock
be
climbers are good.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock
Yeah,
climbers.
no, that's the thing. And there's certain people that I do want to invite on, but the problem is we're doing this at a specific time, and it's not always conducive
no.
to somebody else's schedule because it's like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, Thursday. A lot of people are either working, they're busy, or they have a life, and I'm like, how do you have a life? That's crazy. You should be doing what I want you to do.
I had this guy request to be on one of the RX muscle shows, and I listened to his back. I read his background. I read up on the guy. I'm not going to mention who it is, and I'll be okay. We can have him on. He'd be a good guest. Then I get back to him, because like us, we have our time. It's a live show. And so I say, it's 1:30 on Tuesdays. He goes, oh, I can't do 1:30 on Tuesday. How about 10 o'clock at night on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I said, dude, those days are over.
Yeah,
That ain't
I'm with
happening.
you. I'm with you. Plus,
Someone
it's
said
like,
bring Mike O'Hearn on. Okay.
yeah, somebody said he's boys with Frank, but like, here's the thing. But the other option is this, right? Is we could do these things, and we could also have them pre-recorded and play clips on here, and then just run the other thing, like run the whole interview elsewhere, which is totally fine. But getting somebody on, on at this time is not so easy.
How you want to go viral in the bodybuilding industry? Let's put on Steve Weinberger with John Romano.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other one I wanted to cut. I wanted to cut up that one where you ask if he still hates you.
That would be awesome. We should do that.
I would totally, yeah. I would
And
be
then
into it.
We'll get O'Hearn on.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. Whatever works.
Listen, I would love to rehash that falling out John had with Steve. I'm sure that would be really pleasant for both of them.
I think it would be fine.
No, I do too. Look, I just
viral.
say that. Yeah, I just say that though. I don't really know. I mean, it would be John that has to do probably nothing he wants to bring up again. I mean, why would he? But
Well, maybe we should have Milos on.
Yeah, let Milo tell you.
or Patrick. We should have them both on. We'll have them both on together, and maybe we could. I really think we should redo that. I think I should print out the transcript, and we should just do a
Dissect it. Yes.
dramatic reenactment of this. I think it would be perfect.
I would like that. I think we should do it.
We got
All right.
we got Hani Rambod for the trainer series thing. He was like, he's like, I want to train you for a men's physique comeback. I'm like, men's physique? I'm like, really? I was laughing. I'm like, men's physique. But yeah, we could have Hani Rambod on or whatever. But yeah, we'll definitely have to have somebody on next week to start and see how the flow goes.
Yeah, let's do it. I know John made us promise to get him out of here on time, so we're trying to get him out of here 20 minutes late now. So that's it.
It's all right. I'll just stay up later tonight.
It's cool. He's got his projects, but
You know, be cool. You know, be cool, Zach. Kerith Barajo, who's going into the New York Pro this week. He's for the 212 next week.
Yeah,
the 14th, whatever it was. But he would be a good guest. You got to see this guy right now. He's absolutely shredded. He switched trainers from Justin Miller to, I believe, Neil. He's with Neil Yoda, right? Neil Hill. So
okay.
You got to see what this guy looks like, because I actually talked to him the other day, and then I was like, wow, grainy as hell.
That's
So we
interesting.
got him.
That's interesting, right? Like, and here's why. Like, not to to say anything negative about what he was doing before, but if you've noticed a difference, and how long he's been working with him, so if you notice a difference between somebody switching and going with somebody else, like I just think about it's probably a leap of faith, but at the same time, when it pays off like that, it's got to be really freaking cool.
I guess so, right? I guess it's a validation, maybe. I don't know.
I would agree with that.
What about that, John? John, so if somebody that was working with you, and would you take it personally if they were like, hey, look, man, I'm digging this and all, but I just don't think I'm where I need to be. I think I got to try some new things. And I'm gonna, we're gonna end this professional relationship, and I'm gonna go to somebody else. What would be your reaction? Are you seasoned enough now to where you wouldn't take it personally, or would you be like, okay, fine, thanks a lot, asshole?
No, I would take it like if it got to that point, I would probably look at it as a relief. Like, oh God, I don't have to deal with this guy anymore. I mean, I've had clients that are absolutely just the worst, and I would contemplate firing them almost every week, and then for some reason hang on, a little longer, and in the end, they're the ones who decide to, leave and go with somebody else. I'm like, thank God, I don't think I've never been butthurt about somebody switching trainers it doesn't matter. I mean, they've got to feel comfortable with who they're working with. They got to feel like there's a synergy. They got to feel like they're getting somewhere. And if you're working with me and you don't feel any of those things, I'm the wrong guy for you. And that's just, it's like a relationship. You're not going to marry every girl you go out with. I mean, it's just like, there's going to be, a special one, and it's the same thing. You're not going to get along with everybody who you work with.
It could be easy, Zach. It could be as easy as, well, I know my body, but this coach won't listen to me because every time I do this, I get the same result. So I know, can't we switch it up? And, this guy's like, don't you know who he might have an ego. You know who I trained? You know how many Olympia titles or this or that I got, and how many pro cards? So it could be as simple as that.
All right. Interesting. Now I got a question. This is for John from Natalia, who is on a lot. Thank you for always being so supportive. So she says, how are you feeling about the After Hours show lately? Are you happy with it? Because some people, it seems like some people are giving you flack of late. Why is that?
Well, that show is built on flack. So I mean, that's just kind of the way it is.
Okay.
Look, to me, that show started being a very different show than it is now. I've said this numerous times to Dave. I think there's too many people on it. I think it was a better show, and it was just our core group. But you got to try new things. You got to, roll with the times. And I think maybe that's what we've done. And I wouldn't say flack. I just would say that, we have some. When you've got that many people doing one show, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be flack or what do you call it? Roughness sometimes. So it's just personalities and what people want. And sometimes, I think it's all in fun. So, that show to me, I don't think anybody ever got seriously. Well, maybe one or two idiots that were somehow got involved, but that was Palumbo's fault. But there's just that element that exists, and if you can work with it, great. If not, people are going to say, why you got so much flack on your show? So I don't look at it as flack. I just look at it as it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And Scatman, I think we covered this before. There's why Richard Rodriguez stopped coming on After Hours. Didn't you say that it just wasn't? You didn't think it was a good fit, and there was a clash of personalities, and you left.
He got a job. He couldn't be available at 1:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. So
that wasn't. Wait, wasn't this okay? Am I mistaken? Was there some different guy that you didn't really like or didn't get along with?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I thought this was him. So
no, Richard was a good dude. I actually worked for him when he was selling $10 million worth of steroids a year and got caught. So I was doing his web content. But no, Richard's a great guy. I like him. But there was only like one real dickhead that was ever on our show that turned out to be a real dickhead. And he's been ostracized. No one mentions his name anymore. The guy's a worthless loser who is always going to be a worthless loser. And there's just people like that in this world. And you got to let them go ahead and be worthless losers because they're not going to be anything else, no matter what you do.
Got it. Okay. I think it was the person that Scatman just filled me in with. I won't say the name because that this is definitely the person that you mentioned that you don't like. So
you're not going to gel with everyone.
I
remember going to, how many people, I'm sure you too, Zach, how many people ask you to do a podcast and you're like, I don't even want to spend 5 minutes in a room with you. Why do you think I want to do a podcast? And I remember I was a fitness host on ESPN, which turned out to be then the Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith show. right?
Okay, yeah.
So I was on that, and I used to bring guests all the time. And one of the guys who ran the show, like I was doing a fitness segment, I came off, and he goes, and the girl's like, "Wow, he's in really good shape." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And this little fat Barney Rubble looking guy goes, how many years do you think he's gonna live? And
Like right to
I
you,
was
like in
I was
earshot?
like,
Like who would say that?
right. Like I was like, what do you think? The girl's gonna be like, oh my God, you're so right, Barney. You know,
Yeah.
but that's the
God.
mentality of some people. You don't know why you can't, it is what it
Yep.
is. It is what it is.
And the other thing, with my show, with Palumbo does things like, ready for the show, we log on, we have the show, and there's somebody sitting there. I have no idea who this guy is. None whatsoever. Never saw him before in my life, and he's on our show. And it's like, Dave's like, and I say this, I'll say this to his face all the time, so I'm not hiding anything. It's like, he comes to you and says, look at this dog that followed me home. I'm going to keep it. And I said, the dog followed you home? He goes, yeah. I go, why does he have a leash on if he followed you home? And he says, well, because I made it easier for him to follow me if we put the leash on him. So, and that's how we end up with these people on the air. It's like, where did you come from? And then, it's like, oh, let's have him on. It'll be great. And it ends up being a disaster. But that's happened very few times. I think we've gotten a couple of good people out of nowhere. They live their usefulness and then they move on and do other things like Richard Rodriguez. So I think that show has been a good springboard for some people. It's been a disaster for others, and it's just been kind of like a fun thing to have done for 15 years. So I'm all good with it.
So we'll get a competitor on here for Thursday, right? We'll see who's available at 10 o'clock on a Thursday.
Yeah. Anybody want to take a either early lunch break from work? Does anybody want to?
We got the guy who came in 16th in the in the Scranton Pro Show in like 1992.
No, you know what we should do, Frank?
Now?
I'm going to track down the guy that stole your socks from an interview.
Yeah. But I'll see if Kareth is around because he's doing a New York Pro, so it's timely, and he's a pretty funny guy. But
cool.
Yeah, Max.
When we're going to be at Bev soon together, right?
Oh man, I want to go
pretty soon.
Yes, and then we have that other interview with Nick Walker.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time you're at Bev's, ask Big Steve if Romano still has a lifetime membership.
I'm sure. You know what? It was. I have a story. Like these guys were banned from this Toronto Pro Show from. They were like media people, and they were banned for years. And then I was like, I was doing a photo. I was helping them do a photo. I actually shot the cover of Mark Anthony for this Inside Fitness magazine. I shot it. And they were like, oh, we'd love to go to the show, but we're banned. I'm like, you're banned? I'm like, why are you banned? And they went into this whole thing. And I was like, oh, God, So I called the promoter. I go, listen, my friends want to come to the show. And he's like, oh, they're your friends? I'm like, yeah. He's like, they can't. And they were like, oh, my God. The band is over. We're going to the show. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, some of this shit is so stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just so dumb. But we'll have some interesting. We can't have Sadiq on because Sadiq will curse every 5 seconds. We have so much good content for Sadiq for the gym talk, but where am I using it?
It's a lot. It's a lot of censoring that would have to be done in order to get it on there. It's a lot.
He's very entertaining though.
Yeah, no, funny as hell. I mean, we were sitting there laughing, but there was also times where we'd sit there when he'd say something and be like,
"Eesh."
Like, yeah, all right.
And we had Victor Martinez and Akeem Williams was good. But all right, we'll get somebody. We'll get
there. But all right, listen, we'll wrap it up for today. We're going to be back on Thursday. And look, please remember to like the page and Go
Tell
click
your
on ads
friends.
and tell your friends. Go click on ads on Muscle and Fitness to keep us, running, and get a protein treat. Damn it!
And definitely
Those are
get a
delicious.
protein treat from
Oh,
Frankie.
good thing I have a huge order in Dubai. Now it's underwater.
Yeah. How about that?
All right, so buy two. Don't buy one. Buy two protein treats, and they are delicious. So you won't be going
That's
wrong
right.
by that.
And they float in the package.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you don't have to
Don't
worry
put
about
them in the microwave in the wrapper. Don't put them in the microwave in the wrapper. I did that the other day, and my whole
That'll make fireworks.
microwave almost went on fire.
But all right. So we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you guys Thursday. Thanks for everybody that was commenting. Cool. Bye.
Thanks.